It was just a few days ago, early morning. Kids were at school, and I was about to head out for work. Then the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there she was. Angela. My ex-wife. The woman who cheated, abandoned our family, and signed away her parental rights years ago. Standing there, on my damn doorstep, with a little boy, maybe 3 or 4 years old, beside her. Knew right away that had to be her son. I was blindsided. Still trying to process her even being there, and she starts crying. Sobbing, actually. I'm here to apologize. To make things right. I'm finally ready to be a family again, give our marriage another chance. The audacity of it. After all these years, she's back, and suddenly she wants to give our marriage another chance? Like it's her goddamn decision to make. In a split second, I made up my mind. Shut her down. Told her straight up. This is not your family anymore. I stopped being your husband the day you cheated on me with Shaw. The divorce was just a legal obligation. And you, Angela, you signed away custody of your own daughters. So no, you have no right to call us your family. Then I slammed the door in her face. Told her to go away, get off my property. I wanted to curse her out, really let her have it, but the kid was right there. Held my tongue. Heard her wailing outside for a couple of minutes, ignored it. Made sure the coast was clear, then went to work. Tried to forget it ever happened. Couldn't let it get to me, couldn't let it weaken my resolve. Almost succeeded, too. Until I got home. My phone rang. It was my parents. Demanding an explanation. They'd heard from Angela. She was devastated that I'd shut the door in her face. Turns out, they were the ones who gave her my new address. Told her to visit me. Said she was getting divorced from Shaw, finally had a chance to make things right. With me. They said Angela had reached out to them about a month ago, and this whole thing had been in the works for a while. My parents, bless their misguided hearts, believed it was about time I thought about my kids, that my daughters needed a mother. And there was no better mother than Angela. So, they decided she deserved another chance, and told her where to find me and what to say. I went ballistic. It was not their place. Not their place to forgive her, to decide to give her another chance without even asking me if I was okay with it. What if the kids had been home? It was reckless, beyond reckless. I chewed them out. But they refused to see it. Said they'd help me during the divorce, taking care of the kids. Said they still help out occasionally. And they believed that whether or not I wanted to patch things up with Angela was up to me, but they had an equal right to decide what was best for the kids. And I couldn't take that away from them. Ridiculous. My daughters are my daughters, not theirs. I respect them, and I'll always be thankful for their help during the divorce. But this? Letting Angela back into my life, back into my daughters' lives? Not their call. We fought. They told me I was out of line, selfish for not giving Angela another chance. Said they'd done their due diligence. Were sure she was a different woman now, and deserved to be a part of my daughters' lives. When I reminded them she'd signed away her rights, they acted insulted. Accused me of believing they'd put my daughters or me in harm's way. Said I was ruining their lives by being too arrogant to accept that my daughters needed their mother. It's been a few days now. I've thought about it a lot. I wasn't out of line. I wasn't selfish. I met Angela when I was about 24. Mid-20s for both of us. We worked at the same firm. Dated for 2 years, then got married. Within 3 years, we had 2 daughters, now 9 and 7. The second pregnancy was unexpected. She wasn't happy about it. I told her it would be okay if she terminated, didn't want to put her through anything she didn't want. But she didn't. After our first daughter, things were great. We were as in love as 2 people could be. But the second pregnancy changed everything. She became moody, irritable. Constantly picked on me or our eldest. I figured it was hormones, tried to make peace with this new Angela. Thought it would pass. It didn't. Things just got worse. My daughter and I learned to walk on eggshells around her. I was handling everything. She was supposed to be a stay-at-home mom. She'd quit her job voluntarily after our first kid, handled the house, took care of our eldest while I worked. But when she got pregnant a second time, that stopped. We had to hire a housekeeper because she said she was too tired. Too tired to do housework and look after the kids. I agreed, even though it was a stretch for our budget. I wasn't earning enough at the time. But I didn't want to inconvenience Angela, especially while she was pregnant. I assumed she'd bounce back after our second daughter was born, go back to taking care of the house and kids during the day. And let's be clear, I wasn't one of those husbands who did nothing around the house after work. I helped out whenever I could, even when I was exhausted from the job. But months passed after our younger daughter was born, and Angela showed no signs of changing. Still cranky, still irritable. Refused to do any work around the house. Just sat at home all day, watching television. Didn't even play with the kids. She'd pay our neighbor to take them to the park sometimes. I don't want to sound resentful, but I was. I was slogging at work day and night, busting my ass, and she wouldn't even do the bare minimum at home. Paying for a housekeeper, for all the cooking, cleaning, laundry, all the miscellaneous chores. It was expensive. I had all the other expenses, too, and I wanted to save for our daughter's future. That was becoming impossible because Angela refused to help out in any way. So, after about 6 months of this, after our younger daughter was born, I knew we couldn't go on like this. I had to talk to her. I knew it would be a difficult conversation, so I asked my parents to watch the girls for a day. They agreed. That day, I sat Angela down. Told her I knew she was tired after 2 pregnancies. But I needed her to help me out. To work with me. Explained that the housekeeper was becoming too expensive. I needed her to honor her word, go back to doing at least some of the household chores so we could renegotiate the housekeeper's salary, save some money. She shot it down instantly. No, said she was too busy watching the kids to do any housework. And that I should start earning more instead of making up excuses and blaming her for my financial condition. I tried to tell her I was doing my best. That she had to do her best too, if she wanted to make this marriage work. I even brought up how she wasn't really looking after the kids, that she just let them watch TV with her for hours while she watched her tacky reality shows. The housekeeper had mentioned it to me conversationally once. Bringing that up was a huge mistake. She flared up. Accused me of spying on her through the housekeeper. Went on a tirade. Said she wasn't going to stand for it anymore, that she was done being pushed around by me, forced to do all the work, while I did nothing except sit at a desk for a few hours every day. Then she said it was my fault I couldn't afford a housekeeper. Said it was a shame I had to beg her for help, since I was supposed to be the man of the house. It was all completely illogical. She was grasping at straws, trying to make it seem like there was nothing wrong with her sitting on her ass all day, and I was the crazy one for expecting her to actually contribute. We got into a massive fight. She called me a loser, said I couldn't afford to be with a woman like her. I retaliated. Called her a lazy cow who'd already failed at being a good mother, given how scared our eldest daughter was of her, and now she was failing at being a wife too. That remark got to her. She shoved me hard. I lost my balance, fell back onto the coffee table. Shattered the glass. Hurt myself. Had to be rushed to the ER. She apologized, cried the whole time. Luckily, it was just my back, surface-level injuries. But I could have seriously hurt myself. And I didn't trust Angela anymore. I told her she had to move out. I didn't trust her around the kids. No telling when she might lose her temper around them and end up hurting them too. My parents took care of the girls until Angela was gone. For a week, she protested, swore it would never happen again. But I just didn't trust her. I almost filed for divorce right then. But she begged me, gave me a sob story, and by the end of the week, we agreed she'd go live with her parents for a while, undergo therapy. Only when a medical professional gave her a clean bill of health would I allow her back. Something was clearly wrong with her. Happy people don't act like that. But she was willing to work on it, to get better. I didn't want my daughters to grow up without a mother. So I agreed, no divorce, not yet. Give our marriage a second shot. We even started marriage counseling while we were living separately. Eventually, it all turned out to be useless. She cheated on me. My parents had moved in with me to help with the girls while Angela was at her folks' place. We went to counseling weekly. Things seemed to be improving for a while. I was even in touch with her therapist, who told me Angela was suffering from postpartum depression, but was getting better. One of her symptoms had been intense anger issues, which she didn't have before. When she shoved me, that was a wake-up call for both of us. This went on for almost a year. Around the 6-month mark, I even let her visit our daughters, under my supervision. She was slowly becoming her old self again. I was glad to see it. It finally felt like things were looking up, like we could actually make it work. Then, out of nowhere, she stopped coming to counseling sessions. No explanation. Stopped responding to me. I knew she was still making progress, though, because her therapist kept me updated. It didn't make sense. For weeks, I tried to talk to her, but she'd blow me off, say she wanted time to herself. Finally, after almost 3 months of her avoiding me, I decided to visit her at her parents' place. I hadn't done it earlier because her parents hated me. They blamed me, believed I was the one who had driven their daughter crazy and made her act out. Angela had told me it would be better if I didn't visit while she was there, that it would just lead to drama, which was the last thing we needed. But I broke that rule. She'd been distant, blowing off sessions. Even when she showed up, she seemed uninterested. Couldn't make sense of it. When I tried to talk to her, phone or text, she'd say everything was fine. But her behavior told a different story. I knew she was hiding something. The day I showed up at her parents' house, I expected her to be home. She wasn't. I asked her parents where she was. "We're not allowed to tell you," they said, and slammed the door in my face. I could tell they were enjoying it. I had a bad feeling. So I called Angela, standing right there in front of their house. Called her several times. No answer. I was getting more and more paranoid by the second. I decided to sneak around. Get inside somehow. Went to the backyard. Knew her parents usually kept the kitchen door open. Didn't even need to go that far. I spotted Angela sitting on the swing in their backyard. Her back was to me. She was making out with a man I didn't recognize. It's been a long time, but that image is burned into my brain. The most horrible moment of my life. I haven't been able to forget it, not even today. The guy she was making out with pulled back as soon as he saw me. By the time Angela turned around, I was already walking back to my car. She caught up, tried to stop me, but I wasn't hearing a damn thing she was saying. I was in shock. She tried to grab me. I shook her off. "Don't touch me," I said. She didn't. I got in my car, drove home. Blocked her everywhere as soon as I got back. No chance for explanation. Told my parents I needed them to find me a lawyer. Told them what I'd just seen. After that, I didn't see her or hear from her until we had to meet with the court-appointed mediator for our divorce settlement. I was a robot by then, just functioning for the sake of my daughters. Emotionally, I was completely shut down. Didn't feel anything, even when I found out Angela was terminating her parental rights. She'd made up her mind. She didn't want to be with us anymore. She wanted to be with the guy I saw her with. Shaw. He was her childhood friend. They'd grown apart after high school, but reconnected when she moved back in with her parents. And she'd fallen in love with him. Her parents supported it, apparently. Which is probably why they were fine with her making out with him in their backyard, despite her being a married woman with 2 kids. They'd always wanted her to end up with Shaw, they said, and were happy Angela was finally choosing herself and her own happiness. As if she'd ever been capable of doing anything other than that. The divorce was a long process. Even though she cheated, she still wanted alimony. My lawyer and I fought hard, made sure she didn't get anything. It was all rightfully mine. I'd been paying for everything for so long while she did nothing but watch TV. It's been 5 years since the divorce finally came through. We succeeded. She walked away with nothing. The months dealing with the divorce were some of the hardest times in my life. But I knew I couldn't break. I had my daughters. Nobody else but me. My parents, obviously, were a huge help, supportive. I can never thank them enough for being there while I juggled work and taking care of my kids. 5 years. Back then, the divorce seemed like the worst thing that could happen. Now, I'm thankful for it. I don't think I'd be where I am today if I hadn't made that decision to leave Angela. Life's been good to me since then. I'm in a much, much better place, in every respect. We've moved into a bigger house. I get paid better now, don't have to spend money on anyone but myself and my daughters. My parents live close by, drop in from time to time. I have friends who love me. And my daughters are as happy as can be. That's all a man needs. I'm so thankful to the universe that it's all going well for me now. Or it was, until Angela showed up again. Update 1. About a week has passed since Angela showed up at my door with her son, and recently, I found out the truth about her relationship with my parents. It's honestly so disturbing, I don't even know where to begin. Still struggling to process it myself. It's mind-boggling how all of them betrayed me without batting an eye. Apparently, not only were my parents the ones who gave her my new address, but they had been in touch with her all along. I had cut her out of my life after the divorce, but they hadn't. They believed she would come around, at some point. They didn't talk much, maybe once a month, but that was enough for me to feel completely betrayed. Turns out, Shaw made Angela sign away her parental rights after she was served with the divorce papers. Gave her an ultimatum, either abandon her family and make a new life with him, or keep in touch with her kids and fight for their custody, which would mean she'd have to leave him behind. It had been a difficult choice for her, according to my parents, but she ended up going with Shaw to make a new family with him instead of sticking with the family she already had. My parents said Angela contacted them shortly after I filed for divorce to tell them about her situation. She practically begged them to let her stay in touch with her daughters, asked them to help her by acting as the bridge between them. She knew that once she signed her rights away, she wouldn't have any visitation rights, let alone supervision. But my parents would. And they planned on exploiting that. They successfully did so, and fooled me for ages, going behind my back to allow Angela to meet our daughters. They did so because Angela's situation struck a chord with them. They realized they couldn't in good conscience keep a mother apart from her kids. Stabbing their own son in the back for years, however, didn't hurt their conscience one bit. They told me that whenever I would drop our kids off at their house, they would invite Angela over and let her spend time with them. My kids never told me they were meeting their mom because my parents would bribe them with toys and candy so they would keep their mouths shut about this. Any time I would ask them about what they had done at their grandparents' house, my daughters would tell me they played games with my grandparents and their friend. I always assumed they must be talking about my parents' actual friends, the ones I already knew. But apparently that's what my parents had told my daughters to refer to their mother as, in case I asked them about their day. I couldn't believe my daughters had been lying to me as well. But I forgave them. They're just kids. And Angela and my parents had really manipulated and intimidated them into keeping quiet. After I learned the truth from my parents, I asked my daughters if they had been meeting their mother behind my back. They started crying and told me they couldn't tell me because they would be punished by God if they did so. Angela and my parents must have really drilled it into their heads that there would be dire consequences if they told me the truth, and that's why they had been so secretive and vague all along. I also feel like a terrible father for never asking my daughters which friends of my parents they were spending time with, because it could have easily been someone else, someone more dangerous than Angela. And I never would have found out. But I'm going to put an end to it now. I'm getting a restraining order against all of them. I already have written proof of this, since my parents sent an email to me to tell me the truth a couple of days after my fight with them. They had believed that the email was going to make me realize how desperate Angela was to remain a mother to her daughters without losing the alleged love of her life, and that would somehow make me forgive everyone involved. But all it did was make me realize that everyone here was a nasty little liar, and I couldn't trust anybody anymore. It's also ironic how Angela signed away her parental rights and had to resort to meeting our kids in secret, like it was a crime. All because Shaw didn't want her to have any contact with her previous family. And he was supposed to be her one true love. But now even they were getting divorced, and all that turned out to be for nothing. They even had a son together. But according to my parents, Shaw wanted nothing to do with her or his kid now because he had received a job offer and was moving away a couple of months ago. Angela had started working again recently, and their son had started kindergarten here, so she didn't want to move with him. This is why they had been fighting for a long time. It had finally all come to a head 3 months ago when Shaw told her he was done, he was taking that job, and moving out. He didn't have any interest in being a family man anymore because it clearly meant he would have to sacrifice his own future and happiness just to make her happy, and he wasn't ready to do that. This was all meant to make me feel sorry for Angela, but the only purpose it served was making me feel like justice had finally been served. I have already spoken to my lawyer, and the petition for the restraining orders has been filed. My daughters and I have also had a proper discussion about all of this, and I have told them that moving forward, they will never be seeing their grandparents, or their mother again. They seem to be okay with it for now, but we are still going to go to therapy and try to work things out, because I'm sure this is going to be difficult for them, and probably has been quite difficult for them for the past 5 years. But this all ends now. Update 2. Hey guys, thank you so much for all the concern and support here. I'm really grateful that so many people have been sending lovely messages and blessings to my daughters. My parents and Angela have been served with restraining orders. They're supposed to appear in court in a few days. I don't know how they feel about any of this because I have blocked them on every possible platform and have also told my friends not to speak to them in case they contact them. I've also amped up the security around my house and have been working from home for a couple of days. I had spoken to my daughter's school authorities and told them about the situation too. Initially, I didn't intend on letting them go to school for a few days, but I didn't want their education to suffer because of Angela and my parents. So now teachers are supposed to keep an eye on them and not let anyone apart from me pick them up after school. I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that they can't get to us because I'm sure that they will try. So far, it's been good, and I'm hoping that after we get that restraining order, they will continue to stay away. Update 3. Hi, so this is going to be a really short update, but we got that restraining order. For the next 5 years, all 3 of those maniacs are going to have to keep their distance from me and my daughters, unless they want to face terrible consequences. Obviously, I'm still keeping all the security measures that I took in place for a while, because the last I saw them, they looked really pissed, and I don't want to risk anything. My daughters and I are attending regular family counseling sessions, and I think that we are going to make a lot of progress in the coming few months. We have already made considerable progress, honestly. All I want now is for my daughters to be happy, and that's it. So please keep sending us your best wishes. We need it.